Today we're in Matthew chapter 17, reading verses 19 through 21, and this is where the disciples could not cast the devil out of the young son. And it reads, "Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, Why could not we cast him out? And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith of a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting." Hello everybody, this is Carol and welcome to Uplifting Home. And today we're making a low sugar version of a homemade pumpkin ice cream. And the original idea and recipe came from my new friend Lynn at Lynn's Recipe channel. I just love her. She's fantastic. And I know you'll love Lynn and her channel too. Also, the link to Lynn's pumpkin ice cream video will be listed in the description box below. The idea for a pumpkin-flavored ice cream with spices just really intrigued my interest. This is the perfect time of year, the fall, to have those fall spices like pumpkin pie spices in everything that we have. I can imagine having this ice cream even at the Thanksgiving table for that special extra dessert. Also topped with the maple walnut pumpkin pie spiced nuts. Oh, wouldn't that be delicious? Okay, enough daydreaming for now. Let's get back to the task at hand. Let's get started on our pumpkin ice cream. Now, this ice cream is a Philadelphia style type ice cream, so it's not a custard. There's no eggs and no cooking involved. So this is what we'll need. In my version, I'm using 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now, the original version uses 2.5 cups, but I'm just going to replace the other half a cup with milk. And my heavy cream today is by Organic Valley. It's organic heavy whipping cream. And next we're using 2 cups of 2% milk. My milk of choice today is the grass milk, organic, and non-homogenized. And remember, by cutting down on the cream and increasing the amount of milk in the recipe, especially 2% milk, is going to add more ice crystals to your ice cream. But this version will give you less fat as well as half the sugar. So if you know that you love that creaminess and need that creamy texture of a full-bodied cream and whole milk, then you may be happier with the original version. And next up on our ingredients list is a 15-ounce can of organic pumpkin puree. Now make sure this is pure pumpkin puree, not the pumpkin pie filling. And a 15-ounce can is equal to 1 3/4 cup of homemade pumpkin puree. If you are using homemade pumpkin puree, make sure that it's very thick and not too watery, because the extra water in the pumpkin will make the ice cream much more harder to freeze and a lot more water crystals. And next up is a half a cup of light brown or dark brown sugar. Now this is half the amount of the original recipe. I found for our family it was the perfect amount and still tastes very sweet and delicious. And next on the list is 2 tablespoons of unsulfured molasses. And be sure that your molasses are the unsulfured type. Now I'm using today the black strap molasses. And blackstrap molasses are more concentrated in flavor. They're richer in iron and the B vitamins as well as other nutrients. Next, we'll talk about the spices. So the spices used in this pumpkin ice cream are nutmeg, ginger, and cinnamon. Now, cinnamon is A-OK with all my family, and we like it very much. Now, the nutmeg and the ginger are a little different. So the nutmeg I've cut way down on, and the ginger I've cut back some on it as well, just because those flavors can be a bit pungent, and some of the family members may not be okay with too much of the ginger and the nutmeg in the ice cream. So we cut those two spices down quite a bit. So we're using 1 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and we're using 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground ginger, and a pinch or about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now, if you're using fresh nutmeg, you may want to really watch that very closely, the amount that you use, because fresh ground nutmeg is much more potent than the ready ground jarred kind like you buy at your market. And our last ingredient is pure vanilla. Now, I went ahead and doubled the vanilla in this recipe because we absolutely love vanilla. So instead of 1 teaspoon, I put 2 teaspoons. So my version is 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla. First, to get everything mixed together, we're going to add the milk, the brown sugar, and the molasses to our mixing bowl. And then we're going to mix for 2 minutes to dissolve the sugar completely. And before we move on, I'm going to check to make sure the brown sugar has dissolved completely. And it looks like it is completely dissolved. And next we're going to add in the pumpkin and the spices and mix once more. And lastly, we're going to add the heavy cream and the vanilla. And mix gently until it's well combined. I like to store my ice cream mixtures in the refrigerator overnight so they can be as cold as possible. So I poured this into a pitcher and then covered it with saran wrap, and the next morning it's ready to go. Now, the ice cream freezer bowl has been in the freezer for at least 24 hours. And I've also put the glass dish that I'm going to transfer the ice cream into before placing it into the freezer. I've already went ahead and placed that dish in the freezer to chill as well. So I'm just giving it a quick stir here to get everything combined back together and ready to go. Then I'm going to pour it slowly into the ice cream maker. Now today I'm using the KitchenAid ice cream maker attachment, and its recommendation is 20 to 30 minutes for the churning of the ice cream. So I'm going to set my kitchen timer for 20 minutes and then see if it needs the extra 10. And after the 20 minutes, I examined the ice cream, and I do think that it needs the extra 10. So we're going to go ahead and do 10 more minutes. And now it's been 30 minutes, and I believe this is as thick as it's going to get. And so we're going to go ahead and cut the machine off and get it into the dish. I'm going to take a sheet of wax paper and press it firmly on top of the ice cream. And then I'm going to trim off the excess edges with a pair of scissors. And this is how the edges looks after it's finished. It just helps to be a little easier to manage the papers, the plastic wrap and the paper. Lastly, I'm going to cover the entire thing with 2 layers of plastic wrap and then place it in the freezer. I'm going to leave it in the freezer for at least 3 or 4 hours. And then it should be at the perfect creamy consistency to scoop it out and enjoy. A big thank you once again to Lynn and her channel for introducing me to pumpkin ice cream and allowing me to take her idea and make this video. Thanks, Lynn. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed being here with me at Uplifting Home today. I certainly have enjoyed having you here. And if you found this video to be interesting or helpful, please consider sharing the video with your family and friends. I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Uplifting Home. That way you'll always know what we're up to. And until next time, take care. Bye now.